think I've ever hosted.
I don't think you have. You
got
always
this,
do the
man.
live. You always do the live.
Yeah.
You got this.
Welcome to another Dead in Hip Hop video. This is a little different. I think we did this a couple times. We did Habits and Contradictions, Schoolboy Q, and we did
A$AP Rocky.
A$AP Rocky's.
Is it Long Live or Live Long?
I never can remember that. I'm not even gonna try. I'm not gonna try.
The debut mixtape.
Right. But yeah, man. Nevertheless, we're here. We're here doing an album visit on Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, M.A.A.D City. Came out in 2012, October 2012.
10 years.
Yeah, so 10 years. Shut up. See, I want. Guess who's back? Guess who's fucking
sorry.
back? He fucked that all up for me because he can't be quiet. He can't be quiet.
Like a little kid in the corner.
Yeah. That's when you know he's back. That's when you know he's back.
Why even say it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm sorry.
Nah, but yeah, Myke C-Town's back, man. Happy to have him back. He definitely was missed. I know he was missed by y'all too. Not quite the full crew, because y'all know who's not here. And because he's not here, Feefo's not here, we have a special guest right here. Who's the special guest? Tell a little bit about yourself, man.
You know, it's your boy, the Granddad Wooly, album of the century, the man who beat this man. Put the camera. Yeah, put him on there. One more time. Just in case y'all forgot. In case y'all forgot.
No, it's
He
cool.
took down the champ.
You know, they cheated you. That's all. You know, they just gave it to you. It was charity. It was charity.
Fast. But also hip hop artist, 1/4 of Dead in Gaming. Make sure you check that out every Tuesday on Twitch. And just a lover of hip hop music, and I'm glad to be here again. Appreciate y'all having me.
Glad to have you here, man.
Thank
glad
you.
to have
Thank
you here,
you.
man. Like you took down the great Beezy 430.
Look, someone had to
Nah,
do it.
Friday.
Somebody had to do it.
I mean, it was a ride, but you know,
Yo.
you know what I'm saying?
But yeah, man, with that said though, yeah, make sure you check out Odd Fridays, man. Every Odd Friday, we do a battle between two
We got
of
season finale tournament.
Oh yeah, we got that going on. So yeah, be on the lookout for the season finale tournament. But anyway, man, yeah, we're here for the Kendrick Lamar Good Kid, M.A.A.D City album revisit. So this won't be like a album review. It'd be more like a conversation about when this album came out, how it impacted, or what we thought about it at the time. And we reviewed it on October 25th of 2012. So yeah, make sure you go back and watch that. Right now, that video is at 331,838 views right now.
Damn.
That shit is crazy. 5.8K likes. I wasn't on the review because at this time I was behind the camera a lot, especially in 2012. Those were the earlier years of Dead in Hip Hop. Mm-hmm. But nah, man, this is probably like one of my favorite Kendrick projects. I still kind of have Section 80 kind of edging it a little bit. But yeah, I think this is my second favorite one out of his discography. But what about y'all? Like is this where does this sit right now that Kendricks have made albums after this? Where does this one sit for you at this point?
It's second for me. Yeah, I think me and you pretty much share the same thing. Section 80 is still like conceptually I like what he did with Section 80. I think that's still my favorite joint. But yeah, this one is definitely second for me. My second favorite
out of everything he's dropped. What about you, Myke? Where is this staying for you now?
I haven't listened
10
to it
years
in a long
later.
time until a couple days ago I threw it back on for this. And I was kind of reminded of how much I like it, but I think this is probably second or third. I mean, I still like Damn. Damn's probably still my favorite.
Oh, that's
But,
right. Damn is your favorite.
I don't know, man. I might like the new one more than this. I don't
Still
know
sitting
yet.
on it a little longer.
Huh?
Still got to sit on.
Yeah, I
got
got to sit on it a little bit longer because it's still new.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this is a damn good project. This really is a damn good project. This was his first studio album, right?
His first
Because Section 80 was that kind of as a mixtape kind of sort
Yeah,
of?
this was his first album under Aftermath because he had signed with Aftermath, so this was like the first official release.
This how you do it.
Aftermath. Yeah,
This how you do a debut album.
This shit changed the game. Like I remember people were
really
just kind of mocking this afterwards with concepts and stuff. It was a lot more prevalent after that.
Another thing about this album too, I don't know if I was talking to Granddad or somebody, but like this album kind of brought back skits. If you know, because I feel like during when this album came out, I feel like we kind of lost the art of skits, of good skits throughout the albums. You know what I'm saying? That can make you laugh, that knows how to connect the album. So yeah, I think this album definitely brought that back, having good skits.
It's interesting, B, about that. And I think before I get to that, B, it's probably like second for me. I think To Pimp a Butterfly is probably my favorite. But I haven't really thought about it like that. But just thinking about it on the fly is probably like second. But the skits is the one thing I wish I could do without.
I feel like that's what.
And I remember people was complaining about that
together
too. And, you know,
Well, after over 10 years, it does bring it together. But right now, I just want to, like, if I put it on, I just want to hear the songs.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear the whole story that's going on, unless I'm in that mood. But for the most part, I wish I could just like skip through the skits. They're still good, and I still enjoy them. If I don't feel like skipping through them, I can tolerate them. But
I skip them.
nah, I'd rather just. 10 years later, I can do without them.
Yeah, for me, it's number 2 as well. I'm with Ken. I prefer To Pimp a Butterfly just from the musicality of it. I'm big into that, you know, just how he was able to kind of like just use so many different sounds and cross genres and things like that. But with this album, I'm a huge fan of conceptual albums, especially conceptual albums that have a cohesiveness to it, that tell a story. I've done it myself before, so I know like what goes into making a project like that. So I have a high respect for people who can do those and execute them well. This album, I just think, because I had to go back and listen to it too, because I haven't heard it in a while. It still holds up after 10 years. It's still an album that I think definitely was the right album to break Kendrick into the mainstream, because it showed Kendrick it made Kendrick a star, but it also showed that Kendrick was an all-around artist. Like he was like one of those like really rare all-around artists that you didn't get during that time period, because you know a lot of people were coming and going, but Kendrick stood out and he cut through the fog. More so with, I think Section 80 started it, but this album was like, okay, this dude is something special. Yeah. This is where everybody was like, okay, this dude needs to be watched right now because he's gonna do something special. But like the skits, I can listen to the skits because I know how it just goes into the next song and it just carries the song. But sometimes you want to just, if I just want to hear one song, if I just want to hear M.A.A.D City, if I just want to hear Backseat Freestyle, I'm just gonna hear those songs and not worry about the stuff in between. But if I want to sit and listen to it, I'll give it its respect and listen to the whole thing.
I think on the review, one of your takes, Myke, was that you didn't like what was it? Poetic Justice. You didn't like. Is that still the case for you?
Yeah,
still don't like it?
I still don't care for that song. It's not a bad song. I still feel this way when Kendrick does these kind of like sing-songy type songs. Like what's the Walls song?
These Walls.
These Walls.
Yeah.
Like I typically skip over those. I like just that rappity rap Kendrick. But that's just a personal bias. You know, it's not saying that these songs are whack or bad. I get their place. I just, especially right before fucking M.A.A.D City, I just typically would just skip over it.
Got you. I know. We didn't do this back then, but we used to do favorite tracks. Do y'all have like favorite tracks off of here? Like what would be some of y'all favorite tracks?
Down to Thirst. Sing About Me, Down to Thirst.
Sing About Me, M.A.A.D City, of course.
Backseat
Freestyle.
That's my one.
And actually, I kind of went Myke with Poetic Justice, but even more so with Swimming Pools. I've never really liked Swimming Pools.
And see, it was for me.
I've always skipped over that song.
I liked it better than the concept of the album.
Even
I didn't like the single when it came out.
When it first came out, I didn't like it. Then I said maybe in the concept of the album. And I heard, I was like, nope,
better
still skipping it.
I like Swimming Pools.
Yeah.
For some reason, when I hear it, I'm like, I don't know. It's just it's one of them songs.
Swimming Pools did the same thing that I did for me as well when To Pimp Butterfly came out. I didn't care for I that much. I just liked the Ozzy Brothers sample. But in the context of the album, I enjoy I more.
But it was also a different version. The I on the album was a different version than the one that he came out with. But yeah, I feel you.
Yeah.
You know what? I didn't notice until I went back to it, and maybe I did at the time, but I don't know if we mentioned it or anything. But M.A.A.D is an acronym. Did anybody know what that acronym was for?
It says Compton, USA made me an angel on angel dust.
Yeah.
Made me an angel.
My angels on angel dust. That's what it stands for. Yeah. It literally says it.
I feel like we did.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think we mentioned that. Like I went through the review a couple days ago, and I don't remember us mentioning that in that review.
I guess we just didn't think about it because, like, that deep into the album, you know, we're thinking about the title, and he just kind of snuck it in there. But yeah, and now I'm thinking about it, it is there.
I don't think we knew yet that he was all fucking weird and coded.
He was all like deep. He was like, okay, I'm gonna sneak these little secrets and Easter eggs in and all this other stuff. So
I kind of felt like I knew that, especially coming from Section 80, but for whatever reason, I was focused on the way he constructed it more so than, you know, the little like nuances of, like you said, the little things he throw in there. But because I know he did that on Section 80 where he talked about one track and then he brought it back up on another track, and I was just like, oh, this motherfucker creative. So I really was anticipating this album.
Oh, apparently there's multiple meanings. There's also My Angry Adolescence Divided. Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, I know we ain't go through it like that back in, because that's when we used to do like under 15 minutes. Or in the first,
shit.
yeah, in the first years we would do like 10, 15 minutes on album reviews. So yeah, it really wasn't. We didn't go that far into the album, but I don't know, man. 10 years later, how do you ultimately feel about the album? Like at this point,
it's interesting that I can still play it. It's one of the few albums that I would actually put on. Most of the time, I'm always listening to newer stuff or a lot of older shit. But yeah, this is one of the few albums that every once in a while I was like, I haven't heard that in a while, and I'll put it on, and I still get enjoyment. Interestingly enough, Poetic Justice now is one that I'm like, yeah, I can kind of skip over that. I sort of get a little bit of the same feeling with Swimming Pools now too. I don't know if it's because those were some of the ones that got a lot of airplay around that time. Maybe I've just, heard it so much that I just don't want to hear it as much anymore. But nah, yeah, I can still put it on and play it, and I won't say it necessarily feels new, but it doesn't feel 10 years old, which is really weird.
Me personally, I haven't went back to this album until we had to do this, and I sat and listened to it. Then I realized how good it was overall, and it's just, you just realize that, like I said, you see an artist who really knows, who they. This is Kendrick finding out who he really is as an artist, and he's really, beginning to go into that peak level of his creativity. Well, he's tapping into it. He hasn't reached that peak yet, but he's tapping into what would be his peak level of creativity. And when you look at other artists, not many artists can do that or are able to maintain that or catapult themselves to that level and then exceed those expectations further down the line. So it's a moment in time that just showed a new star legitimately being born. That's how I see that album. That's the moment in time where a new generational star has been born from this album.
It broke him into the mainstream, which is fucking crazy.
And it made, like I said, people just he's got lifetime fans. People still talk about that album. People still, say, "Oh man, Good Kid, Mad City. That's my album. That's the album that made me a Kendrick stan or whatever it is." So, when
was the last time somebody was able to just become that big of a star?
It's rare, especially these days. But it's rare. It only happens once in a blue moon.
Yeah, that's a really good point because I don't remember anybody that just when this album dropped, everybody was just on it like that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it just kind of, and then not just being on it, but it moved the culture. Had other rappers trying to do something similar. You know what I mean? So yeah, that he made a serious impact. For real. How do you feel about it 10 years later, B?
Playing this and thinking back, because you gotta remember in the 2000 decade, you had artists that come on Aftermath and they get shelved, they don't come out. You know what I'm saying? So they don't want to do. I feel like Dre was smart, or whoever was the head of this was smart to let Kendrick do Kendrick. I feel like it wasn't no creative difference. I feel like when he signed with Aftermath, Dre was like, okay, you got your TDE producers. Y'all already been making this magic before this mixtapes. Keep that same formula. And I feel like he did a good job of letting Kendrick be Kendrick, with this album, and it made him a star. And I remember the 5-year anniversary of this album, people were saying is this a classic now? Is this a classic album? And I can, from that standpoint of the fact that it made Kendrick a superstar, you can say that. But yeah, after 10 years, I can still listen to this album and still enjoy it. It just came out.
That's a good point. Yeah. Can we officially call this a classic now?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? After 10 years. I think at 10 years in, it's safe.
It's a good number.
Point, right?
Yeah, it's a good number.
It's safe to start calling stuff classic at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, 10 years later for you, Myke, how do you feel about it?
Like I said, I wasn't returning to this a lot, but yeah, I think it's safe to say that this is a classic album. I think it definitely brought back skits. It definitely reinvigorated the interest in concept albums. And before him, it had been a while since we'd seen someone that just kind of showed up and was just like, all right, this guy's already a fucking superstar, and it's been a week. How does that happen? And I don't even know if we've seen that since, really. I think that moment was just something different for rap. Especially for someone that was actually trying to say some shit. and that was actually trying to get a point across. I think that was just, it was just a special moment. I don't ever return to Section 80. Like, I know y'all love that album, but I never really get into that one like that. This was the beginning of my interest in Kendrick Lamar. So yeah, man, for a relatively new artist, for a debut project, it's just wild. It really is. It's wild. And to see where he's at now since then, like listening to this and to what he's done now, it's not drastically different, but it's just interesting to see how much he's changed since then.
No album sound the same.
No
album sounds the same.
at all.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Didn't he drop a song with Dr. Dre that didn't make this album?
Compton?
I thought it was Compton, but
Compton, that's the
That was
song.
the last track.
it's the very last track.
It was about Just Blaze. Yeah.
I always think it's a bonus, but it actually is on the album.
Okay.
Jalen.
Oh, he does
Oh,
have
the
that one
recipe,
too.
yeah, that too.
Yeah,
But that was
yeah.
on the deluxe version, I think.
That's
Not
the
on
one I
original
had.
version.
Yeah, because he dropped like different versions of this, I believe.
It kind of like
Yeah.
started to build like the hype, you know, around this potential partnership. 'Cause we were remembering, at least I was like, shit, last time Dre kind of partnered with somebody, it was Eminem, you know, and now here he is again, like putting the stamp, because I think he even said it, like the stamp on Kendrick, and then look at Kendrick. You know, in hindsight, I don't know, I have to really think about it. Like, maybe it's a different way, instead of like the artist he was signing on Aftermath, maybe just
50 Cent
like
was
a
the only one
different
that
approach.
popped in that 2000s.
Yeah, because he did sign a lot of artists that got shelled.
Yeah.
But Kendrick was more independent, you know, around that time.
Right.
So I think it was a little bit different. He was able to have a little bit more leeway.
Yeah, because he was kind of already on a
He was
independent
already on
label
TDE,
where
so
most artists wasn't. Like 50 Cent
yeah.
wasn't.
Yeah.
50 Cent, this was 50 Cent's moment.
50 Cent,
You know what I'm
Eminem too.
Right,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
But everybody else that was on Aftermath that didn't drop, you know, they didn't really have, you know, a name for themselves
Right,
like that.
right.
They were
Dre
at
knew
the
he
mercy
couldn't
of
shelf
Dre.
this.
Yeah, he couldn't.
Dre knew he couldn't
He
shelf this.
couldn't.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But wasn't this like a distribution type of deal with Aftermath? This wasn't like an actual label thing, was it?
I don't remember.
I
But
don't know.
Dre
I don't
produced on the project, so I assumed it was a partnership.
It might have been a
executive
partnership
produced it.
because
He didn't
it might have been a
produce it.
partnership, but they used Interscope as the distribution because like they probably
yeah.
that's how they probably got the distribution is through Aftermath. But Dre probably has some sort of input to it, as what I would think is it because I think I don't know how many albums he signed for, but I know for a fact Good Kid and Pimp a Butterfly were on Aftermath. I don't know if Damn was considered on Aftermath or not. Because I don't know when his Aftermath deal ended. They didn't really specify how many albums he was supposed to be with Aftermath. Because I think when Damn came out, it didn't say Aftermath on it. I don't believe.
Yeah,
Maybe
this-
it did. I don't know.
And this does say Aftermath Interscope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just probably they just did it probably just to get that machine behind them. And Dre fucked with Kendrick probably and said, okay, come on the Aftermath. I got Interscope behind me. We'll push this to the moon.
Yeah, I remember when that was announced and everything. Because I don't think it was a everyone type of thing. I think it was.
That was just
Yeah,
Kendrick.
because
it
like
was just
Schoolboy
Kid,
wasn't.
yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
think Kendrick was the
But
only
that's
one.
what got TDE the label deal though. After Kendrick blew up, TDE got their own label deal with Interscope.
Yeah.
But strangely enough, only Schoolboy benefited from first. Like Ab-Soul didn't get it.
I remember that.
J-Rock didn't get it at first.
Because he was on
either.
Strange Music too.
Yeah, because he was locked up in Strange Music
Yep,
still. So
yep.
they had to buy him out of Strange Music
Yep.
to get him
I
on
remember
there.
that. I
So
remember that.
it was only Schoolboy that really benefited from that TDE label deal initially. That's why Schoolboy blew up. Because if
Yeah.
you think about Ab-Soul and J-Rock, it took J-Rock a minute to kind of get
That's
his ways.
interesting.
And Ab-Soul still hasn't really left the ground because it just, for some reason, Ab-Soul just didn't work out. So
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. You could be part of the same label, but then don't get the same push and get the same.
yeah, it's all about
notoriety.
what's the bigger machine behind
That's
it.
wild.
Yeah, they're all
Yeah.
still on Aftermath. Yeah, on the last one is PG Lane, Top
That's
Dog,
it.
Aftermath, Interscope.
Yeah.
Yep, and then at Aftermath, Interscope Records. Yeah,
That's
It
probably
won't be
the-
that like that now.
Yeah, I think
PG
he's out the
Lane
deal
now, I
now.
think.
Yeah.
So
I guess that's my last question. Did y'all anticipate that, like him, like sticking around on TDE or anything like that?
He's too big. He knows he's done everything he can do. Like when you're an artist and you know you've done everything you can do for that label, it starts to hold you back as an artist. So I feel like with the PG Lane thing, he can now do because I think he wants to do more than just make music. Obviously, if you look at PG Lane, he's being way more creative, and he's also got Baby Keem. He's trying to probably help his cousin get big and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to have to be having Interscope, or not
Everybody
Interscope,
taking a
but
piece of the
Aftermath
pie.
and TDE taking a piece of it. He wants to have his own and his own ownership. But then what does that say for TDE? Because TDE doesn't have a Kendrick replacement. Because Schoolboy is not doing what Schoolboy used to do. Neither is J-Rock, neither is Soul, neither is Reason. So it's like, now what happens to TDE now that Kendrick's gone?
Oh, we're seeing it, but
I mean, you see it. You see it. I mean, you don't want to. You see it. What's happening?
You seeing what's happening.
But it's like, is this now the beginning of the down, like the true, like not downfall, but I guess the
shift in
the
direction.
shift in direction from people really like saying TDE is that label. Because I feel like Dreamville is starting to creep up a little bit more than when they did not. I'm not saying they're taking their place, but I'm saying if you think about how much attention Dreamville's been getting lately compared to TDE, it's sort of be like, because everybody compares the two. Because there's no, what other labels or collectives that people really like ride for other than Dreamville and TDE right now? None.
If anything, I'm actually surprised TDE didn't give him more room to do what he wanted to do.
Yeah,
because it seemed like him and Top were like really close.
Yeah, you don't want to lose something like that. So if it was that, and that's why he loved, then that was a mistake on their end. But if it was just because on the last album, I just 4 or 5 damn people getting a cut. So if he wanted to cut that down, then well, shit, he didn't even have to do that. He could just, once the contract is up, just re-sign the contract. So I don't know what happened with the inner workings there, but I never thought he would leave.
Me either.
I didn't think so either.
I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
Like when you were saying that you were totally not surprised, I was beyond surprised because it didn't seem like TD was a label. It seemed like they were just friends.
I mean, it's not like they all are. They got beef or anything. It's just when you're an artist and you get to a certain level, it's like you want to venture out. He's probably learned a lot from Top. He's probably learned a lot from Top Dog, and he said, I want to apply this to my own thing. And PG Lang is a company. It's not just a label, but it's like he wants to focus on that and not have to probably put his energy into holding up the ship at Top Dog at the same time. He probably wants to dedicate and he's probably going to be there still around, advising, helping out. You probably still see him on a track here and there and things like that. But
I get all that, but he didn't have to leave. That's what I'm saying. When you're saying that Top could hold him back or whatever, then I kind of disagree. Because, I mean, when M got as big as he was, he started Shady. It was Shady Aftermath. It wasn't just Shady.
But he was probably locked into a deal with a multi-deal.
You don't think at some point Eminem could have left that deal? He's still in that deal. He's
still in that deal now because he probably has a really good deal now because he's sold so many records. He's probably been able to renegotiate. But Eminem probably didn't. Okay, but you think about Eminem and Kendrick from a creative standpoint. Kendrick is way more creative, way more risk-taking than Eminem was overall. I mean, Eminem did the shock value thing. He came out, but then Eminem we all know what happened with Eminem. And Eminem is in this spot where he's just like autopilot. He puts out anything. He still got his dedicated fans. I think Kendrick wants more than what he's reached now. He's probably a person who needs to scratch another itch that Top Dog can't do or the label system can't do. He's a creative. So money sometimes isn't enough. Or he wants to be in a different environment. He's probably used to that TDE environment so much he wants to challenge himself and do something else. You don't know. You don't know what's in this dude's mind, but
I agree with Ken. He didn't have to leave to do all of that stuff you just blathered on about. He could have totally.
Wow.
I'm playing. I'm joking.
Wow. Like, nigga, fuck what you talking about. He shouldn't have left.
No, I agree. I understand what you're saying. It makes sense. What I'm saying is he could have stayed with TDE if that was what was going on. If it was like he's a creative and he wants to dip his hand in other things. Ken's right. If TDE knew all of that and he knew that he was the one that was kind of holding the label up, then I think they would have made concessions to make him to get him to stay.
Well, look, most of this isn't gonna make the video anyway. But good conversation.
You don't know. Why you filming me? I got cut out, man. Granddad just gave I have a dream speech. I take 3 chances. Ron talking about cut the whole shit out.
It's a whole other conversation. It's a whole other conversation. That's why. But some of it be added in there. You know what I'm saying? The edited version.
So in summary, the album is good.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. That's our album revisit of Good Kid, M.A.A.D City. If you like this video, man, make sure you say something in the comment. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. I know I didn't say that at the top of the show, but look, thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for tuning in. And yeah, man, like I said, subscribe, like, share, you know what I'm saying? Let people know about that in hip hop, man.